Hi, this is Rolf. Welcome to the Building My OD Model Do-It-Yourself Toolkit. This is a quick run-through of the tool itself, and the PPTs give you all of the detailed strategy information of how to make this in the best way. I'm starting on this tab called Step by Step, and it is really very simple, and it's the place to start. In order to start with the tool, you need to have your overall goals per program, at least a draft of it, because the tool is not going to help you set the overall goals. It is a tool that helps you translate that into LCs and how you cluster the LCs if you're in a tier 1 or in a tier 2. You put your goals of the LCs in the sheet, you put the realizations of last year in the sheet, the amount of members you think will work on it, and the tool will already give you answers as to how your LC is structured in terms of focus programs, as well as your overall MPS. So to show you how that works, I'm going to go here to tier 2 tab, which is 8 to 15 LCs. I have my LCs down on the left hand side here, up to 15 LCs, and I have my programs IJP, OJP, IGSTP, and OGSTP here. I have the sum of members and the focus programs here, and on the bottom I can see the summary for my entity for the whole program. If I have less LCs, I can just delete the lines here of how many LCs I need to delete. My first LC, I call it Hofdijk, and it did last year 20 IGIP. This year we want to grow from 20 to 45. And you already saw that the cluster changed to advanced, the jump went to focus. We set an MPS here of 43, and we allocate 10 members to work on this in my local committee. OJP we did a little bit last year, but it's not going to be the focus. They will grow from 5 to 10. We'll have an MPS here of 50, and we just allocate a small team to work on that. And in IGSTP we didn't do any of that last year, and we're not going to set that any goals there either, so that remains 0. For OGSTP that was our big program last year, so we did 70 OGSTP, and we set a goal there of 100. We think we can grow even more. We put an MPS of 50. We want to provide really high quality experiences. And because the goal is very high, we put 20 members into the OGSTP program. Here you see the sum. So total I have 34 members. I have 2 focus programs in my LC. Let's go back to the sheet. So IJP, we said it was a focus, and it appeared here with a growth from 20 to 45. But what I see is only 29% of my membership is actually now allocated to this program. That's 10 members here out of the total, which is 34. Also, I see that the tab tells me that that's too little, and I see that the planned efficiency here appears as red. So apparently that seems to be a too high efficiency. If I look at my OJP program, it appears as non-focus. I just see that not many members are allocated, but that seems to be okay because it's a not focus program. It's the same here for IGSTP. OGSTP seems to be fine with an efficiency of 5.0 and a member percentage of 59. But actually this makes me think a bit. So I have a member efficiency here of member allocation 59% in OGSTP, but only 29% in IGIP. And actually this is the key point, that even though I want to grow in every program, I can't grow in every program. So the real question for this LC is IGIP the focus, or is OGSTP the focus? And it shouldn't be 2 focus programs, it should be 1. What the tool does is that it looks at the absolute and relative growth in the program and compares it to this tab here, variables, where you have put what you think is a maximum relative growth in the program without it being a focus program, and what is the absolute growth that you would consider okay without a focus program. But if it exceeds these numbers, it appears as a focus program. So the kind of growth that I'm looking at GSTP, because it's 30 in growth, is actually too high if I say that that's not the focus program. So I should reduce that down to a growth of maximum 10, which is what my sheet specified. It then appears as non-focus. Then it's a question, why am I allocating so many members to a non-focus program? And I think this is one of the key issues. Here the efficiency is calculating the realization goal over the number of members you have. And actually, for a non-focus program, the efficiency should be much higher than just a medium. So I'm actually going to reduce the number of people I have in my OGSTP program to 10 people, from 20 down to 10. And I see the efficiency goes to 8.0. That is still on the variable sheet something that I've considered still possible for OGSTP, So I have 8 as a max efficiency there. And by doing that, I see that my total membership goes down to 24. And actually, I now have 42% working in my focus program, IGIP. Still only 10 people, but that's okay. But this is much better, and the reason for that is, as an LCP, it's very clear. The majority of my LC members are working in IGIP. That's where we have the high growth target from 20 to 45. And as an EB, we understand that this is what we need to do. I have some goals on OGIP, but I understand that my LCVP OGIP has a small team to focus on that, and even my LCVP OGCTP has a bigger team, but not as big a team in order to make the OGCTP happen. So overall, my 24 members are well distributed to deliver on my one focus program, which is my IGIP program. My second LC is Tiling Strat, and I'm expanding there this year. And I realized that I really wanted to have much higher GCP numbers to grow further in this program, but that didn't really happen. So what I do here actually is I will make sure this expansion actually is going to be an expansion on OGCTP. I'm going to put a significant initial goal, which is 30. And I think this is important for an expansion, that they have a real contribution and a real sense of it. But you see here, the tier that it falls into is a basic tier, whereas my other LC is still in the advanced tier, even though that's a non-focus program. It's a focus program here. I put an MPS here also of 50, which is the national MPS I've set as a goal, and I allocate actually in my expansion entity 6 members into the program, an efficiency of 5.0. And the second thing I do is I also get this LC to start doing IGIP. They didn't do any, and I'm not going to set a high growth number, but I'll set 5 as a target. I'll set a high MPS goal for them, and I'll put a small team in place to work on IGIP this year in the local committee. You see, it's still basic in terms of clustering, and it's a non-focus program. If I look at I don't have any OGIP or IGCP in the LC. You see my 2 LCs, they each have one focus program. Overall, as an entity, I have 2, because overall the growth I have set for IGIP is 30. And for OGCTP it's from 70 to 110, and all these numbers, they come again from the variables I've set. So here is the efficiency rating I've defined, what is my target, my minimum target, and what I think is the maximum we can do, and also what is the percentage of members I think should be allocated to a program for it to be a focus program. Here I've defined my tiers by program, and I've also defined on an entity level what is the kind of numbers I see there in order for the entity to focus on it or not, over what percentage or what scale of absolute growth does it become a focus for the entity. And that is exactly the numbers that are reflected here in the colors you see. So that is how you use the tool. Going back to the step-by-step, just for you to see the final part, you then can adjust these variables, of course, to fit your realities on the variables tab. And on tier 1 and 2, based on the cluster, you can then also say, well, I have 2 different clusters here on IGIP. One is advanced and one is basic, and actually I'm going to have quite a different strategy for the 2 clusters. So what is needed front office, what is needed in terms of partnership and supply-based delivery, what is the back office needed, what is the culture and general challenges for this cluster. And this is how you then clarify which kind of strategy you're driving in which cluster. That applies to tier 2, tier 1. In tier 3 and 4, we advise one focus program across LCs and just a specific set of general strategies to be driven on an entity level because of the relative less complexity of your entity, and to really have a focus as well. To see all the explanations of the tool, you can go here, detailed explanation. It just tells you exactly what I told you now. Hopefully this is quite useful, and by doing this you will be able to get out exactly whether or not the way you are distributing your goals on your LCs is feasible for those LCs to execute, for them to only have one focus program, whether on a national level that's reasonable in terms of number of focus programs you have, and you can see the overall goals that you would achieve by that, and that gives you a clear balancing tool, and you can also then use it to really build your OD model by cluster for tiers 1 and 2. I hope this was useful. Enjoy all the strategy input as well as the recordings of the webinars, and good luck in building your OD model, and we're happy to take your feedback. Send an email to me or Nikita, and we'd be happy to give you input. Take care.